It's a sunny day. History of US presidents in one go. Starting off with George Washington, famed as a general, actually quite a shit general, just a bit lucky. Then we had John Adams, who started clamping down on free speech pretty much immediately with the Sedition Act. You then had Thomas Jefferson, who was all about states' rights, which gave legitimacy to slavery and the Jim Crow laws for the next 2 centuries. You then had Madison, who the war with the British, which got the White House burnt, and then Monroe, who declared that slavery was a right, yet took his slaves to the White House and then didn't release them. Then John Quincy Adams came in, didn't do much because nobody agreed with the bugger, which then led into the first of the Democrats, which was Andrew Jackson, who is a psychopath, also Trail of Tears Indian dispersion, Indian removal. Then Martin Van Buren, who carried on the Native American dispersal and also oversaw a massive economic crash, which led to the first of the Whig presidents. Now, these were entirely unsuccessful, with William Henry Harrison giving a 2-hour inauguration speech, then dying a month later in pneumonia. We had John Tyler, who got kicked out of his own party. We then went back with James K. Polk, who annexed Texas in order to increase slavery, spread slavery, and thereby triggered the American-Mexico War. Hero which was Zachary Taylor, the next Whig president, and he shot himself to death on milk and cherries. Bringing in Millard Fillmore, who signed the Fugitive Slave Act, which meant the North had to return any slaves who escaped from the South. Then went Franklin Pierce, who signed the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which increased the area that could be with slavery, and more Indian dispersals, and also it started the triggering up to the Civil War. Not helped at all by James Buchanan, who basically decided it's not my job as president to stop states from seceding from the Union, which then we went into a civil war with Abraham Lincoln, who, if you read speeches, was a white supremacist. He got shot. Andrew Johnson came in. Andrew Johnson was a massive racist who fucked his slaves. Ulysses S. Grant was a massive drunk. Rutherford B. Hayes stopped Reconstruction in the South, thereby scuppering black voting rights for the next century. Well, that's pretty much still going out, actually. Then after Rutherford B. Hayes, we had Garfield, who, well, they shot that bugger before he could do anything wrong. Then we've got Chester A. Arthur, who got his position through his influence with the corrupt political machines. And that brought in Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland, fun fact about Grover Cleveland, his wife was the daughter of one of his best mates. Yes, she was 27 years younger than him. More disturbingly is after his mate died, Grover Cleveland raised her as a daughter from when she was 11. Then we had Benjamin Harrison came in, grandson of William H., and he was responsible for the massacre at Wounded Knee, and he was so shit. They then elected Grover Cleveland back in, and when you're so shit, they re-elect a shit muppet and a shit city. Then you're going on to William McKinley, who went to war against Spain for pretty much no reason, egged on by the press and the warmongers in his cabinet, including Teddy Roosevelt, next president, whose lust for power was so great it split his party, followed by Taft, whose lust for cakes was so great he got stuck in the bath. Then we had Woodrow Wilson, who pretty much was a member of the Klan. He got elected by the Klan, and he showed Klan videos in the Klan films in the White House. The first film showing the White House was Birth of a Nation, which is a tribute to the Ku Klux Klan. Then you went on to Warren G. Harding, who was too busy having affairs and covering up for his corrupt cabinet to actually achieve anything. Calvin Coolidge thought the president shouldn't achieve anything, and nor should the federal government, and therefore blocked things like aid to Mississippi farmers who were flooded out. Herbert Hoover, to keep up appearances during the Great Depression, had really lavish meals in the White House while everyone was starving on his doorstep. FDR lied about his health and had an affair with nurses. Harry Truman bombed Japan and caused Godzilla. Eisenhower nuclear diplomacy, bringing the world onto the brink of nuclear annihilation. Even closer with JFK with that. JFK, previous to being elected president, was a backer of McCarthy and his anti-communism thing, and he was elected from the mafia stuffing votes in Chicago. Then we got Lyndon Johnson, who to intimidate people got his cock out in meetings. We went with Nixon, who prolonged the Vietnam War to win an election and was so corrupt they had to get rid of his corrupt vice president first. So we got the unelected Gerald Ford to come in and pardon Nixon. Carter, he joined the Iran hostage crisis. We had Reagan was senile. George Bush won. Went to war in Iraq and didn't get rid of Saddam, which then increased tensions in there, which Clinton started spending petrol over while he wasn't having affairs with his policies in the Middle East, which then meant when George Bush 2 came in, he just set the whole fucking world alight, and then we had a massive economic crash. So everyone was so relieved when Obama came in. They gave him the Nobel Peace Prize, and then he bombed the fucking moon. And looking at all that, yeah, Trump's still the fucking worst. Happy whatever day it is.